Investigators are naming the BTK serial killer, Dennis Rader, as the prime suspect in two unsolved killings in Oklahoma and Missouri. It's led authorities to dig near his former property in Park City, Kansas, where police have found certain items that could link him to the crimes. Our Brian Enton spoke with the Osage County, Oklahoma Sheriff on Elizabeth Vargas Reports about what was found.
On the first trip up under the edge of the concrete, we found a set of pantyhose that appeared to have been possibly tied around someone. And from that information, we went back to Park City and visited with KBI. And yesterday, they removed the concrete for us to actually look where the information said those items were buried. And in those locations, we found several items that we feel like could possibly relate back to victims or maybe to binding shoes with victims.
Well, police say this search in particular is closely tied to the disappearance of this girl, 16-year-old Cynthia Kinney, who was reported missing in Oklahoma back in 1976. Now, Rader was convicted in killing 10 people in Kansas in a bloody spree from the 70s to the 80s. And joining us now to talk more about these latest investigations, former investigator Mike King, who is also the host of Profiling Evil podcast and YouTube show. Mike, thank you so much for your time. We just heard from the sheriff there. How pivotal could these recently recovered items be? And also keeping in mind that there's been so much time that's passed, I mean, could that potentially impact the evidence?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a real challenge to see what forensically can be collected on this evidence, if anything at all, frankly, after this much time, or if there might be other identifying marks that are found on the pieces of evidence that can be tied back to specific victims. Now, the thing that's so important about this, frankly, find, if in fact it truly is a ligature as the sheriff has described it, rather than something that was just tied up and knotted up and junk in the backyard, is that we know that BTK was into bondage and had a rape kit that he carried with him, a kit to make it successful for him to be able to gain control of his victims and maintain control. But it also fit his psyche of the things that were exciting to him as part of all of his homicidal events. And so all of that's going to just become one more piece of the puzzle that it's going to be necessary to tie back and forth. And frankly, there's so little evidence or information coming out right now. It's really hard to say, is it part of the 10 or is it a new victim?
You know, and Mike, are you surprised these other potential cases are just now being linked to Rader? I mean, and does that mean that there could be even more linked to him and they just have yet to be announced?
Oh, I think certainly there could be possibly more cases that end up being tied to Rader. Number one, it's really important to recognize the fact that a serial predator goes through this build-up process. They act out, and then they go through a cooling off period, and they start fantasizing and get ready to go again. They don't just turn off the switch. And we see Rader in this particular series of 10 turning off the switch and going decades without being captured. I knew the investigator in this case very well, the guy who was there on the first day of the Otero murders and the day that Rader was arrested. We've talked so much about the case and about the behaviors involved in the case. It's just unlikely that he would just turn it off without having some kind of substitute or something happening along the way. So it's going to be really valuable to see his locations and the events that bring people together. Yeah, that buildup is so key, as you said. Mike, our Ashley Banfield spoke with BTK's daughter. She visited him in prison for the first time in 18 years. Let's listen to some of that.
So it took him a minute to process who I was. He's lost like 7 inches. And he's in a wheelchair. He's pretty much rotting like to his core. And so he didn't even necessarily recognize me. So we had to have a family reunion. And then I just basically laid it out that I was there with Osage investigators. And at that time with McDonald County, that my team literally was in a holding room and that we were there to talk about serious things. And it was the first time he ever dropped his mask and became BTK in front of me.
Well, Mike, we only have about 30 seconds, but do you think at this point in his life he would or could reveal anything more?
Yeah, I think that's really the key. The thing that brought BTK back into the picture, in my opinion, was that there was a serial truck driver in the area of Wichita. People were opining that he might be BTK, and then BTK started reaching out to police again. I don't think his ego will let him stand by with people like Heuermann and others being out in the front of the news. This is a great way for him to get it back out in front. And frankly, it gives him what he's always wanted, power and control.
Yeah, we will see what happens. Mike King, thank you so much for giving us some of your time.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.